Master Oogway looked like he had it all figured out. The wise old tortoise. The one who created Kung Fu. The one who saw the future and smiled anyway. But if you watch him closely, he wasn't teaching peace. He was teaching something much harder. He was teaching us how to let go of the future we think we can control. And almost nobody caught it. Because the lesson doesn't feel wise at first. It feels terrifying. Let's echo this.
Let's echo this.
Yes, you have a new favorite.
Oogway doesn't start as the calm mountain. He starts as a warrior, a young tortoise who fought battles, who bled, who watched friends die for causes that seemed worth it at the time. Then one day he simply stopped. He sat under a peach tree and let the wind move the petals, while everything else kept rushing. The film never shows us the exact moment he decided to let go. It just shows us the result. A master who no longer needs to win anything. Not respect, not legacy, not even the survival of the valley he spent his life protecting. That decision is the entire foundation of every lesson he ever gives. And it is the opposite of everything the other characters are doing. Tai Lung is destroying himself, trying to force a destiny that was never his. Shifu is choking on guilt because he believes he can still fix the future he broke. Tigress is proving she belongs by becoming perfect. Po is panicking because he thinks he has to become something he's not. Every single one of them is gripping the future so hard their hands are bleeding. Oogway watches all of it and says the same thing over and over in that makes you lean in. There are no accidents. He doesn't say it to comfort them. He says it to free them. Because if there are no accidents, then the future you're fighting to control was never yours to steer in the first place. Watch the scroll moment again. Tai Lung is standing there, 20 years of rage, finally in reach. Oogway could have given him the scroll. He could have prevented the rampage. He could have kept the valley safe the easy way. Instead, he refuses. Not because he doesn't care, but because he already let go of the outcome. He knows that handing Tai Lung the scroll would only delay the real problem. The problem isn't the scroll. The problem is the belief that something outside you can finally make you enough. Oogway already dropped that belief decades earlier. That's why he can look Tai Lung in the eyes and say no, without flinching. He isn't protecting the Dragon Warrior title. He is protecting Tai Lung from the lie that the title would have fixed him. And then there's Shifu, the student Oogway loves most. The one who still believes that if he just trains hard enough, controls tightly enough, loves fiercely enough, he can rewrite the past and force a better future. Oogway watches Shifu torture himself for years and finally tells him the truth that breaks him. You must let go of the illusion of control.
Until you let go of the illusion of control.
Illusion?
Yes.
Shifu hears it as abandonment. We hear it as abandonment. But Oogway is offering the only freedom he knows. He is saying, the future you are trying to manufacture is the very thing that is destroying you. Stop writing the story. Stop deciding how it has to end. Just show up and let the wind move the petals. The peach tree scene is the quietest and most devastating moment in the entire trilogy. Oogway stands there alone, petals falling around him, and he tells Po that tomorrow is a mystery. He doesn't say it like a fortune cookie. He says it like someone who once tried to solve the mystery and paid the price. He knows what it costs to keep gripping tomorrow. He knows what it costs to watch everything you built start to crack and still choose to smile. Because the smile isn't denial. The smile is the evidence that he already let go. And then he dies, or ascends, or whatever we call it when a tortoise turns into peach blossoms and floats away. He doesn't fight it. He doesn't give a final speech about what everyone should do after he's gone. He simply lets the wind take him. In that moment, he is teaching the final lesson. Even your own life has to be released when the time comes. Even your own legend. Even the future of the people you love most. He doesn't cling. He doesn't try to stick around as a ghost or a voice in Shifu's head. He lets the future continue without him in it. That is the hardest form of love there is. The easy read on Oogway is that he was just wise and chill, and everything worked out because he was enlightened. But that's not what the movie actually does with him. The movie shows us a master who chose radical surrender over control, and then quietly watched everyone he loved suffer because they couldn't do the same. He never forces them. He never lectures them into letting go. He simply keeps modeling it until one of them finally understands. That's why Po is the only one who ever truly gets it. Po never had a future to protect in the first place. So when Oogway points at him and says, "The Dragon Warrior," Po doesn't grip it. He just laughs and eventually becomes it by accident, exactly the way Oogway always knew it would happen. And this is where it stops being about a tortoise. You know this version of yourself. The one who has a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a perfect version of how your life is supposed to unfold. The one who lies awake running scenarios, calculating risks, trying to bulletproof tomorrow. The one who believes that if you just prepare enough, control enough, sacrifice enough, the future will finally behave. You've done everything right. You checked every box. You became exactly what the people who raised you told you to become. And somewhere along the way, you started believing that gripping harder was the same thing as being responsible. But the future doesn't care about your grip. It never did. Oogway already knew that. He knew it under that peach tree the day he stopped fighting. He knew it every time he refused to give Shifu the answers he so desperately wanted. He knew it when he looked at Tai Lung and saw a child who would rather burn the world than release the future he was promised. And he still smiled, not because he didn't care, because he had already paid the price of caring too much about a future he couldn't control. I know this one personally. For years, I kept rewriting the next chapter of my life before it even happened. I had the perfect timeline, the perfect version of me, the perfect ending. And every time life moved the petals in a different direction, I tightened my fists harder, until one day I realized I was exhausted from holding a story that was never mine to write. The relief didn't come when things finally went according to plan. The relief came the moment I dropped the pen, the moment I looked at the blank scroll of tomorrow and didn't panic, the moment I understood what Oogway had been showing us the whole time. Letting go of the future you can't control isn't giving up. It isn't laziness. It isn't defeat. It's the only way to actually meet the future when it arrives. Because the future doesn't arrive for the version of you that scripted it. It arrives for the version of you that is still willing to be surprised. Oogway didn't die peaceful because he was old. He died peaceful because he had already let go, long before the peach blossoms took him. The last time we see him, he is floating away on the wind, smiling, while everyone else is still trying to hold the valley together. He doesn't look back. He doesn't give final instructions. He simply lets the future continue without him. And that might be the most loving thing any master has ever done. You're still here. Maybe you've been white-knuckling tomorrow for years. Maybe you've built your entire identity around controlling how the story ends. The peach tree is still standing. The petals are still falling. And somewhere in the wind is the quiet voice that sounds a lot like an old tortoise saying the same thing he always said. There are no accidents. So maybe today you loosen your grip just a little. Not because you don't care, because you finally understand what Oogway understood under that tree all those years ago. The future was never yours to control. It was only ever yours to meet. And maybe that's enough. Maybe it always was.